charger in, otherwise my battery will die. This thing eats batteries. So previously, earlier tonight, I was talking about this power supply. I 3D printed a new potentiometer shaft thing for it, right? Well, the previous one was wonky. Let's see. I took it out and it's all raggy and it's not even. It's yeah, that's what it came out like. I filed it actually. It was a lot worse. I filed it on my file, but after I filed it, it was too thin. And well, what was happening was these little contacts here. These little contacts that make contact with the circuit board. They weren't. When you turned the trimmer, right, there was slop. There was slop, so that when you turned it a bit, this didn't move, and then it moved. And you turned it back, it didn't move, and then it moved. So there was slop in it. And that was causing all sorts of timing problems, because the top one would move, and the bottom one wouldn't move, and yeah, basically it didn't work. So I thought I'd live stream it anyway. So now what I've got to do is I've got this. I had this plugged into my power supply, not the mains, the inverter, so that it's safe. I don't get full mains, and when I'm testing it, I won't electrocute myself basically. So anyway, I've got to get this lined up with the right tracks, and this I was supposed to point to 730 basically on here, and this first wiper needs to go on I'm hoping I don't break it. I've got 2 spare ones. I did print extra ones. My jar went and melted the other one. I tried to acetone treat it, and I actually overdid it and it melted. So what I've got to do is, because these don't go on so easy, I put a bit of acetone on this plastic and get my tweezers. And it should slide down. Actually, I should better push it with my fingernails. It's drying really quickly. I want it to be a tight fit. Right, that's number 1 on. Ah, it stuck to my thumb. See, I told you it melts. Ah! Right, that one's on, and it's, yeah, it's tight. It's not going to wobble about like the other one did. Because you can push it up and down, it doesn't wobble. That's good. And I've got some tension on it. So if you look, focus. What's wrong with this camera? Why did it focus? If you look, it's got a little bit of bend on it. So it's leaning towards my hand a bit. And that's what we need. We need a little bit of tension so it presses down on the circuit board. Right, so that's number 1. And now the tricky part is we're going to get this lined up. It's going to go through the hole. Right. So I'm redoing all this. This flipping wire's in the way. But it's soldered directly to the transformer, so I can't take it off. It's a bloody nuisance though. I've got my soldering iron because I'll need that to melt the plastic over the end. I'll show you in a minute. That's the only way you can get it to mount. This damn wire is a bloody nuisance. Right, so I've got this located and I've got to put, it's a really fiddly job this, you know, it really is. So I'm going to get the other one. I've just been cleaning these with a cotton bud, so I'm get my acetone. Clean end actually. And been rubbing around this white card because this white card shows stuff up a lot better. So I'm going to clean the contacts. I actually emery papered it yesterday, so it's not too dirty. It's just that I've got some plastic melted over the contacts and it's causing issues. Right, so without that flying across the room, because I would never find it, because I don't think it's magnetic. Let's find out if that's magnetic. No, it's brass or copper, one or the other. It's most likely brass. Get the other end. Let's see. One's pointed at that corner. So on this side, with the end bending inward slightly. And get that on. Because I pushed the other one already on it, this one goes on a lot easier. Are we still alive? Yeah. Press that down. Right, let me feel that before I clamp it all up. Is it making contact? Can you see the wiper? Right, now we have to, there's a spring. When I first took this apart, I thought, where the hell's this spring come from? Well, it goes on here. That's some melted plastic. Then this nut has to go on. Now the problem is the nut doesn't fit, so what I've got to do is I've got to use some acetone to I'm not in the right place, am I? Right. So I've got to use a little bit of acetone. This is what happened last time. I went and put acetone and the plastic melted onto the contact. So I've got to be careful I don't put too much on. I just want one drop. On there. And get this nut on. And I press it until it starts to slide on a bit. Then I'll screw it on. Right, I'll put a drop of acetone on the back side here, on the back of the nut, fill that hole up. Oops, too much. This is what happened last time, it went wrong. I don't want too much in there. Get my pliers and start turning this thing. I don't use heat yet because it will just make a mess. See, there's no tension on it yet. I'm pushing it together while I'm tightening it. So let me just check my wipers aren't loose. No, right, it's going on slowly. So now I've got the plastic so it's partly through, look. I don't want to snap it off because that could happen as well. It could easily snap off. I'm just going to use my fingers now. I've got it started. It's going on. You can see the plastic's coming out the end. coming out, look. Right, it's starting to tighten up on the contacts as well. They actually feel good, right? I don't want it to work. I don't want them contacts to work loose, so I'm going to let that acetone dry out a bit. Both contacts are actually on the right pads on each side, so that's a good sign. And it actually feels tight. Maybe I don't need to go all the way down. So what I'm going to do now, get my unless there's another fault somewhere, which I haven't checked. I immediately just saw the switch was smashed and broken in. Push the back. It's just warm enough to make it soft. Now I'm going to let that cool a minute. I can put my finger on it, cool it down. So that should be tight now. I'm going for the LM3 in the right place. That should, in theory, well, it's 7.74 volt. Yeah, it's working. It's okay. This regulator is a bit off. So that'll be the volt one. Let's see if I can get that to work. I've got some alcohol in it. I know it's plugged in right now, but it's fine. Doesn't want to come on. The LED's not lit up, but let's just see if we've got any. Oh, I've just moved my meter as well. I want to see if there's anything coming out on the 6 volt range at all. No, there's nothing. Right, okay, so there's no fault there. I mean, it's not shorted out or anything. The current consumption is the same, 780 milliamp. I'm just going to go back a bit more, see if we can get another one to work. Let's see, that must be the 4.5 volt one. And that's not working either. What about the 3 volt one? That must be, I think that's the 3 volt one. Nothing on there either. So we go from 6, then 4.5, then 3 volt, then 1.5 volt. And none of them are working right now, which is weird. Because you would have thought that some of, especially since the 12 volt one's working, I would have thought some of them would be working. Why not? Why? Maybe the contact's just loose at that end. It is leaning this way a bit though. The trimmer thing is leaning that way a bit. So that's cold. I'll push it a bit while I turn it, see if that does out. Nope. Well, that is strange. Those are the windings. And let's go back to 12 volt. Yeah, it works at 9, it works at 12. Huh. Just tapping it, it came back. Yeah, I think there's something loose somewhere. I wonder if it's that. I wonder if it's that resistor here, that's because it looks a bit baked. That doesn't make sense. This is tight. When I turn it, it's tight. Ooh, I see what's... Oh, my nut's a bit cockeyed, look, on the back. Wonder if that could be it. I think when this acetone dries out, when the... have I knocked my camera? When this acetone on this plastic dries out a bit more, I'm going to heat that up, this bobble of plastic, and I'll squeeze that nut down a bit further to make it a bit tighter, because it might be that it's just not quite tight enough to make the contacts press together on both sides at the same time. So I'm just going to turn this thing off. I'm running my battery down because I'm running on an inverter. This thing in winter time, this thing keeps my solar battery charged, topped up, because we don't get a lot of sunshine. So otherwise, if the lithium cells get too low, and if there's a power cut, I've got no battery. Yeah, that just went pushing on a bit more. So it's turned off right now. Let me see if I can push this nut down a bit more. Oh, you know what's happened? You know what's happened? It's come off. It's snapped. The acetone's made it too soft. Look, it's come off. Oh, it's broken. You see, the acetone made it so soft it broke off, but this is plastic ABS, so I can stick it back together. Ah! Oh, brilliant. Look at that, it snapped up again, look. So now, there was no wonder it's not working. But it was tight, and now it's not. Boo! I used too much acetone on it. Drat and double drat. Well, I've got another one. I printed 3 out, so I'm not going to use acetone anymore. I'm just going to use my file. The acetone made it too soft. This is what I'm talking about. Everything goes wrong, and you try to fix something, and then yeah, if you wonder what I'm doing, there's a little thing for the screwdriver, and it's clogged up a bit, so I'm just gonna I'm just gonna clean it out a bit. Damn it. Third time lucky. They say third time lucky. Actually, technically, this is 4th time. Right. But I still need to acetone this a bit to get rid of to strengthen it a bit, because I'm going to have to acetone it and then leave it to dry. The screwdriver should fit now. Yeah. Oh, I don't believe this. I got it so soft, look, it's just it's not my day. I'll get there eventually. At least I know it's going to work once I get the right one in. I don't believe it. Right, so I've got to get this off. There we go. Get my contactor off. Put it back there. So I am so glad I printed 3 of these things. I can print another. I can print more if I need more. But yeah, it's frustrating. I want my other contactor off this one because this one's the spring, the tension on the spring just pushed it apart, and it just in the middle because it was the acetone, but it's so soft it had no strength in it anymore. I'll get this one off. That can be made into glue now. So there's a bit of black on here. This is emery. I'm just going to file that off. It could have been what was causing the other one not to work. Oh, actually, no. I'm looking at my current meter on my thing. You know what I said? Was it 780 milliamps? You got to deduct 330 milliamps because 330 milliamps is being used by the phone. That's shiny now, look. It's important that that's clean, otherwise it doesn't work properly. I did clean that one up, but still a bit missing. There's some plastic on here. That's probably what caused me to have some issues. I think. Alright, that looks a lot shinier. Okay, my hand's tired now. I'm just gonna I'm going to treat this with some acetone. I want to leave it to dry for a few hours before I actually put it in, because otherwise it just pulls apart with the spring. So oops. Right. I sprayed it so I didn't get too much on. I'll leave that. And I'm going to watch some James Condon on YouTube while that does its job. Oh my god, I just realised, I hope YouTube, you know, it's got this text to, it's got this voice to text thing. let's hope it doesn't mispronounce condon with an N. Yeah, because it's embarrassing. Oh, I feel sorry for James having a name that could be misinterpreted. Oh dear. Mind you, I suppose you can misinterpret anything really. There's all sorts of things that can be text to speech or speech to text. You've got to laugh sometimes though. You're watching a YouTube video and it won't understand what you're saying. It transcribes it into text, and you're reading it, and if you're in a foreign land or foreign language and you actually see that text, you think, what? And you realise, oh, this machine, this engine is not perfect, it's making mistakes. Oh dear me. Okay, well, I have quite a few. This is the one I acetone treated to make it stronger. I left it in the acetone too long, and it's deformed. It just went, oh, I can't get it to focus. It just went all pear-shaped basically. So I can't use that one. And it's still soft, look. Oh, it's bendy, look. You can't use that. That is completely soft. Oh yeah. I suppose when it dries out I could try it, but I'm not going to bother. I've got a good one here, and I'm going to try my best not to use this while it's soft, because the spring will just pull it apart. So I'll leave it overnight, I think, and then I'll do it tomorrow now. But at least I know that this thing is in a workable condition. Oh, I've got it still plugged in. I need to unplug it because I can't move it. Wire tangled up. So I'll stick this over here when I can get my soldering out of the way, and don't want to trip the wires over, so I'm going to move the wires out of the way, otherwise I'll go flying. And I want this. You know what? I don't want to lose them bits, so I'm going to put them all in here. Oops. I'll let the air get to that one. I'll carry on with this tomorrow. But I'll lose the damn thing. I'll put it right here. Well, I won't lose it. Things tend to roll around and disappear. Well, at least we had a partial success. I know I did it once, and I'm pretty sure I can do it again. Oh. Anyway, thanks for watching.